Good afternoon, everyone. Recorded by Richter here with a brand new artist highlight segment for you. I know that March is coming to a close, so that means Women's History Month is coming to a close. However, on this channel, it'll probably be Black History Month and Women's History Month every month for me, because I celebrate quite a wide range of things on this channel. But I wanted to fit one more in before we get out into April, and that would be one more for hip hop. And I wanted to showcase artists from the West Coast, Vel The Wonder, aka Vel Nine, aka Vel Nine. So Vel The Wonder started dropping music in 2012, but my fandom for Vel started in 2021 when Peter Rosenberg, the Hot 97 morning show host and real late DJ, put out his first DJ project. And that DJ project would feature on the opening track Vel The Wonder, and the song is actually the same name as the album. It's Real Late, and that feature on there floored me. Right away she caught my ear and I wanted to know more. I wanted to know more about Vel, and so I dove down the rabbit hole, and I'm glad I did, because I was instantly hooked from what I heard. So I want to take you back to the beginning before, I don't want to just start in 2021, because her career starts much before that. So I want to take you back to the start. We'll take you back to the beginning of her life. So we'll go here with Vel. Was born Alyssa Romo in North LA, Baldwin Park area on March 25th, 1989, which is another reason why I wanted to do this segment now. Her birthday was just the other day, so happy birthday to Vel. Vel grew up in a mostly Chicano neighborhood and was heavily influenced by her surroundings. Early in life, Vel was into hip hop, punk rock, skateboarding. Some of Vel's very early influences in the hip hop space were Living Legends and Dilated Peoples. Her dad was also a DJ, and she said he played a lot of Biggie in the house that impacted her as well. And she was very influenced by him being a DJ, but he kind of put his DJ dreams aside when Vel was born. But he was part of a crew when he was coming up called Divine Lovers Group. So I thought that was a pretty cool and interesting piece of information to add there. But before Vel started rapping, she actually was singing, and she sang in a choir from the time that she was a child up until high school. And in high school, that's when hip hop would kind of take hold of her, as she got heavily into graffiti writing, which is another part of hip hop that doesn't get talked about as much. But hip hop is not just DJs and rappers, it's also the breakers and the taggers. Dancing and graffiti writing has always been one of the core founding parts of hip hop. So she said that's when she kind of started to take notice of the hip hop stuff, because in her tagging days and being out running in the streets, her and her friends would often watch local rap groups freestyle, and by watching them, that's when the seed kind of got planted in her head, because she would watch these freestyles and then she would go home and try to do it in the shower. And she said that freestyling in the shower is when she realized that she had the skill set to do that. So after she would do this for a while and start practicing, cutting her teeth and develop herself, in 2012, she started writing. And she said when she first started writing, she would write to DJ Premier beats. She would write over Primo, and then she had a friend that made beats, so she would take these to him afterwards, make the beats, and then she would, these beats that are raps that she wrote over Primo beats, she'd put them to new songs, and that's how she kind of got started. And it's kind of mind-blowing to me, because she starts dropping her first mixtapes in 2012. She put out Closet Rap mixtape and Yellow Dress, and I'm floored by how good she is right from the rip. If you go back, you can find these on Bandcamp. These two aren't on streaming services. They only exist on Bandcamp, or I'm sure maybe on SoundCloud too. But if you go back and listen to her early stuff, I'm actually floored by how good the production already sounds, and then how hard hitting and complex her bars already are. So I mean, some people are just born with it, and to me it feels like Vel is one of those people that's born with it, because these are not entry-level bars. I've been listening to hip-hop forever, and you go back to people's earliest works in their mixtapes, and you're like, yeah, it sounds very unpolished, and it doesn't, oftentimes the voice doesn't even sound like the voice you know, because they've honed it and changed it so much. But she, aside from the fact that she's slowed her raps down a little bit over the years, I feel like, man, she was already out the gate amazing. So anyways, let's fast forward a little bit. In 2014, her first project that would land on the streaming services arrived, and that's Laced in Pearls. And these are very boom bap, hard hitting beats too. And in 2017, her next project would come out, Joyride, which is equally impressive. And you know, there's gaps in between her albums, but she never stops dropping music. There's, you know, in between these albums, she's always putting out singles and different collaborations with other people and EPs and joint projects. One other thing I wanted to note about Vel, in talking about how there's gaps and side projects and stuff that she, in between her albums, you know, she collaborates with a lot of other people and does a lot of other individual things. And one thing I wanted to make sure to note, as I talked about in the very beginning, is that she was in a choir growing up and that she was really into singing. Well, she also has a singing side project, which this is new information to me, so I still have to go and listen to this. I found it in an interview that she did, that she was talking about it. She's got a singing project called Mellotronics, and I think that is something that's pretty cool that I wanted to note. Another thing, and another way that, you know, I mentioned Peter Rosenberg as a way that she got a lot more eyeballs on her music. Well, also, she had a song placement in the show Euphoria. And if you've never seen that show, it got really popular on HBO. It's actually about to come back for a new season. And so she had her very first song placement in that show. And then aside from that, one thing that I like about her is she does the freestyles. She goes up to the different shows and does the freestyles. She also has opened for a bunch of people. She's really proud of the fact that she's opened up for Psycho Realm, which is crazy. If you know, you know. One of those type of things. Shout out Be Real, shout out, you know, the Mexican American rappers and that whole movement in LA. So I just wanted to make sure that I also stated those things as things that she's into and has done in between those. So Vel is always busy. You can find her stuff if you go and try to. But yeah, so Joyride would be the next one that would go on the streaming services under Vel The Wonder. And then she would keep going. And I just wanted to add here that one thing that I think separates Vel from most other women in rap and most other people in rap is her delivery. Vel is hard. Like, her delivery is badass. Like, when she raps, her words really hit, and her rhyme schemes are complex and deeply layered. And I don't think there's an MC on the planet right now that she's afraid of. At least that's how she presents herself when she rhymes. And I like that confident attitude about her. I think that's important in this art form. Now, also, I think right now would be a good time to tell you that Vel likes to rap under different monikers. So sometimes you have some of her albums on the streaming services are under Vel The Wonder, some of them are under Vel Nine. I think the easiest way to find her would be to go to Bandcamp. That's the best way to support anyhow. But yeah, she definitely switches it up, and I think she actually kind of likes that her stuff is a little, you have to kind of work for to find. I think she's one of the type of artists that is in it for the right reasons. Like, she really just loves to rap. And then another thing is her production choices. She is got a great ear for the beats that she chooses. I know a lot of people have compared like the Griselda crew to kind of how her style is, but you know, honestly, if in my opinion, I would think that Griselda is kind of her style a little bit, because she has been honing this style that she has since 2012. I guess if you did want to give some points to Griselda, they do a lot of the drumless beats, and she does get into that in 2022, but I'll get there. So anyways, we're after 2017's Joyride, we're now in 2020, which would kind of be the year that would bring the most eyeballs to Vel, because she dropped an album called Trophy Wife. And Now this one had started to gain more traction online and in the underground space, and even made its way over to New York. It made its way to a New York photographer named Miss Hatton. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Miss Hatton, aside from the crazy, amazing aerial helicopter photography work that she does, she also, around this time, started dating Hot 97 DJ Peter Rosenberg. And Peter Rosenberg was working on his first album at the time. So she would introduce Peter to Vel's music. Vel would reach out to Peter, and after Vel and Peter linked up, she would be on the opening track on Real Late, which was a game changer for her. This put a lot more eyeballs on her and a lot more people from a different coast onto her, because, you know, she was kind of more known locally in the LA scene, and now, you know, East Coast is now paying attention, because it's kind of interesting because she's influenced by a lot of LA rap, but she definitely sonically is influenced by some gritty New York street shit for sure. I mean, obviously I said she started writing to Primo beats. Her dad was playing Biggie in the house a lot, so that kind of adds up and makes sense. But anyways, she has kept herself in the music scene since and has continued dropping albums. So yeah, she had Freak Jet would be the next one in 2022. And this is what I mentioned already with the Griselda people, because this one was a little bit different from her. Most of her beats prior to this have been really like boom bappy in the drums. And now this one would be like a lot more drumless beats and a lot more loops and soul sample, which is a popular style popularized by producers like Alchemist that occupy the underground space. So you see a lot of that going around right now, and she does it so well. That album Freak Jet in 2022 was phenomenal, but then in 2023 she dropped an even better project in my opinion. In 2023 she linked up with producer Nug Life, and she put out her album Nina, and I feel like this is probably her most personal project to date, topic wise, and I think that she just has like all of the check marks for me. She's got the incredible storytelling, she's got deep bars, and she is one of those artists that like you want to rewind the verse a bunch because you're like, wait, what did she just say there? What did she say? And I love that kind of stuff. I like the ones that make me have to go back and, you know, listen a couple times through. That's why I'm such a giant Kendrick fan. And yeah, so I really, really love Vel. You know, she would actually be a great fit at TDE. She's already LA. Man, that would be a great fit. Punch, if you see this, you should look into Vel The Wonder. She is right there in front of you guys. But anyways, I won't spend up too much of your time. Since 2023, she's been dropping a bunch of singles. I have to believe, knowing her, that she has an album in the works. And I really, really hope that that comes out this year, because I really need more people to be paying attention to Vel. That's why I made this video. I know she's cool with being in the underground space, but she deserves to be on the same ascension track that Doechie's on right now. She's that good. So yeah, go support Vel in any way you can. Bandcamp is a good way to do it. Maybe merch. But Vel, happy birthday. Giant fan. I hope to see nothing but success for you. All right, peace.